Have you ever wondered if small investors, people like us, could actually team up to get access to the kind of big league opportunities that are usually just for the super wealthy? Well, today we're going to break down a model that claims to do exactly that. It's called the Smart Investment Pool. So let's dive in and see what it's all about.
All right, let's get right to the big number they're putting out there, 35.4%. Now, that's the estimated average return they've seen each year over the last 3 years. That's a pretty eye-popping figure. So our job here is to really unpack the strategy that's supposedly making that happen.
And what's the ultimate goal here? The long-term vision is frankly huge, to turn 1 lakh rupees into 1 crore. Now, obviously, that's not something that happens overnight. It's not magic. The whole idea relies on the incredible power of compounding over many, many years, all fueled by a very specific investment strategy.
But, before we even get into the solution, we've got to understand the problem they're trying to solve. Why is it that for so many people starting out with a smaller amount of money, the whole investment world can feel like a game that's stacked against them?
And that really is the core question, isn't it? Why is it so tough to invest when you only have something like 1 lakh rupees? Well, it usually boils down to a couple of key things: the high cost to get into really quality assets, and just how difficult it is to spread your risk so you're not totally exposed.
This slide really just lays out the classic dilemma. When you're investing by yourself, it is so hard to diversify properly. You might end up putting all your eggs in just 1 or 2 baskets, which, as we know, is super risky. But by pooling resources together, a whole group of people can buy into a wide range of different assets, spreading that risk way, way out.
And this leads us to the secret sauce, right? The central idea that makes this whole kind of collective investing work. It's not just about throwing money into a pot. It's about a specific financial structure that actually allows for shared ownership of really big, valuable assets. And that structure has a name. It's called fractional ownership. Okay, think of it like this. You probably can't afford to buy an entire apartment building all by yourself, right? But you could afford to buy a small piece of it, maybe 1%, along with 99 other people. This model applies that exact same logic to a big portfolio of stocks, crypto, and other assets, basically giving you a small piece of everything.
So here's how it actually works, in a nutshell. It's pretty simple. First, you put in your money. Second, that money gets pooled together with everyone else's to create a much, much larger fund. Third, that big fund is used to go out and buy a really diverse portfolio of assets. And finally, you get shares that represent your own personal slice of that entire collection.
Okay, so if that's the how, then what's the what? What exactly is this pool investing in? The strategy is all built around diversification across 4 totally distinct markets, all to balance out the risk and the potential reward.
And here's the breakdown. 40% goes into stocks. That's your engine for long-term growth. Then you've got 25% in a forex market for professionally managed currency trading. 20% goes into cryptocurrency, which is of course your high-risk, high-reward play. And finally, 15% is in precious metals, like gold, as that traditional safety net against inflation and market craziness. The idea is to have all these different forces working for you.
Now, managing a strategy that spans 4 different markets like this, that's not something you can just wing. It requires some really specialized knowledge in very different fields. The team running this show brings a combined total of over 12 years of experience navigating these specific markets. So let's put some names to that experience. You've got Rajesh Sharma, who handles the stock portion of the portfolio. Priya Patel is the one managing the crypto allocation. And Amit Kumar is overseeing all the forex and commodities trading. The whole point is that each part of the strategy has its own dedicated specialist. Okay, but I know what you're thinking. Anytime you pool your money with other people, security and transparency are absolutely critical. So the structure here is built to give you a real-time dashboard so you can track performance anytime you want, plus you get detailed monthly reports, and it's all wrapped in a legal framework designed to protect your capital.
All right, so we've seen the strategy, we've met the team, we've talked security. Now for the big question. What could this all mean for your money? Let's take a look at the potential numbers.
So this chart here tries to paint that picture. It shows the potential growth of a 1 lakh investment based on that 35.4% average annual return we talked about. Now, and this is so important to remember, past performance never ever guarantees future results. But based on that history, by the end of year 1, the value could be around 1,35,000. By year 3, with compounding doing its thing, it could grow to over 2,12,000. And by year 5, the projection is nearly 2.5 lakh. So how do you get involved? Well, there are 3 different entry points for this particular pool. The starter plan begins at 50,000 rupees, and that's really designed for people who are new to this kind of investing.
Then there's the growth plan at 1 lakh rupees, which is the standard model. And finally, the premium plan at 5 lakh is for those who are looking to make a larger allocation.
And to get things rolling, they have a pretty compelling offer on the table. For the first 50 investors who join, they're completely waiving the management fee for the first 6 months. This means, in theory, that 100% of any returns generated during that period would go straight to you, the investor. So if you're interested, what are the actual steps to get started? Well, they've laid it out to be really transparent. It all starts with a demo and a meeting with the team, so you can ask them anything you want directly. You even get to see the live dashboard before you make any kind of commitment. And from there, it's just a matter of the digital agreement and making the investment. And that really brings us to the final question, one for you to think about. Is the future of investing for everyday people less about trying to go it all alone and more about finding smart ways to pool our resources and our expertise? That's really the core idea behind this whole model. If you want to see how this specific pool puts that idea into practice, you can get in touch with the Grow With Us team. Thanks for watching.